Hi all! This weekend I asked you to read chapter 1 of a book titled Engaged Writers in Dynamic Disciplines by authors Thace and Zawacki. Now you didn't have to read the preface, but I did ask you to skim the preface to see if you could figure out who the audience of this text was. What I'd like to do is read a couple of paragraphs in this preface and explain a few things about some terms that might seem unfamiliar to you, and hopefully that'll give you a better understanding of what you're looking at when you read chapter 1. So let me start by reading the first two paragraphs of the preface, and then I'm going to go back and talk about some of the terms that come up in these two paragraphs. This project began in 2000 with a call for papers for a collection on alternative discourses in the academy. For many years, each of us have been studying academic writing environments, primarily through administration and faculty development in our university's Writing Across the Curriculum program, which had begun in 1978. We had read and analyzed hundreds of portfolios from students across many majors, and we had worked with hundreds of faculty in workshops, frequently hearing colleagues' opinions about the standards in their disciplines and how students either met them or didn't. At the same time, each of us had been reading the literature on alternative discourse and had pondered the ramifications of contrastive rhetoric and of feminist and other identity scholarship on our teaching and program direction. In our own ways, each of us had confronted the tension between the standard and the alternative, not only in our day-to-day responsibilities, but also in our writing. Terry had directly addressed this tension for feminist scholars in a 1992 essay, Recomposing as a Woman. In a 1997 collaboration, an essay on writing across the curriculum assessment, we had noted the diversity of styles and voices in student portfolios from different disciplines. While the received wisdom seemed to be that the, quote, academy hindered individual diversity and expression, we were seeing personality, engagement, and passion in assigned student work in many fields. Let me skip and do just a few lines from this next paragraph. Nowhere had we seen systematic empirical study of this tension in academic writing and disciplines. All right, so now I'm going to back up and talk about what some of these maybe unfamiliar terms mean, and I think once you understand those, you're going to have a much clearer picture of this reading. The authors begin by explaining that their project began with a call for papers. This is a very common occurrence in academia. Oftentimes, there will be a call for papers on research of a particular subject. In this case, the call for papers was on what's called alternative discourses in the academy. So when there's a call for papers, academics spend time doing research and studying the particular subject that they're interested in. And then oftentimes the best essays that are created are published in a book, for instance, like the one they're discussing here, or oftentimes are discussed at a conference, so other people can learn the results of these particular professors' research. Okay, so clearly these two professors have been thinking about and reading about alternative discourse and had been considering the tension between the standard and the alternative. What does that mean? Well, alternative discourse, or the idea of alternative discourse, might be unfamiliar to you because that is one of those quote-unquote ongoing conversations that you haven't been a part of yet, but that you will be joining. Alternative discourse discusses the way that perhaps the standard discourse, I want to find that, the standard discourse of the academy might marginalize or leave out certain groups of students. So there is an idea that the standard, what's the word I'm looking for? Characteristics of writing for the academy, for school, might leave out some groups. And they question what an alternative discourse might be and how alternative discourse fits into writing for the academy. Notice, this is very important, what these two professors have seen. The received wisdom seemed to be that the academy or school writing hindered or kept students from being able to practice individual diversity and expression. But these same professors said, wait a minute, we're seeing personality and engagement and passion in assigned student work in many fields. So what is really going on here? Is the standard